Hey guys, so as I pointed out a few weeks ago on Facebook, and many of you agreed, it seems that Vegan Gains, Richard, has really changed in the past month or so specifically. He seems a lot less angry in his videos, and given his, recent critiques, I think he has 3 different videos critiquing Durianrider and Freelee and Relative 4, it's clear that he's moved beyond being just another carb the fuck up, harden the fuck up vegan YouTuber. But really, I think kind of the best representation of how much he's changed is his recent Trisha Paytas video, especially when compared to his original Trisha video.
So, you know what? I want you to keep eating the exact same way you're eating now. Eat tons of meat, dairy, eggs, and processed food. Get even fatter, live a sad, pathetic life of denial and misery, and then die young of a heart attack or stroke, because that's all a fat, pathetic fucking liar like you deserves.
Also keep in mind that you tend to have issues with food cravings. You're going to be removing a lot of foods out of your diet as it is, so it makes no sense to follow Freelee's diet, which is going to be even more restrictive than it needs to be. Following a clean eating plan is a good idea, but if you're really getting cravings, then allow yourself to eat some vegan junk food because it will help you transition and stay on the diet long term. All the best, hope the vegan diet goes well, and for all of you, keep making those vegan gains.
There's a term in AA and Alcoholics Anonymous called a pink cloud. It refers to a supposedly common occurrence among newly sober, people new to AA, in which the newly sober person feels terrific, feels on top of the world, and just can't believe how easy it is to be sober. As you probably guessed, that's not going to last forever, right? That state does not last forever for anyone, whether you are a recovering alcoholic or not. No one feels great all the time. So if this person's, pink cloud state has kept them from coming to terms with reality and planning for the inevitable less fun times, less great times, even darker times, how they're going to handle these situations without alcohol, then that obviously is a problem. They're kind of setting themselves up for relapse. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they move beyond the pink cloud state. They realize that nobody feels great all the time, and they learn to be okay with that without abusing alcohol. I bring this up because I think veganism has its own sort of pink cloud state. Vegan Gains' former extremism, or his sociopathy as he calls it, it seems to be fairly common among new vegans. This sort of, angry black or white type of thinking that puts the good guys, the militant, pure kind of vegans in one corner, and then the bad guys, everyone else, including many vegans, in the other corner. It makes it really hard to empathize and therefore communicate with people when you believe this way, and it leads to a sort of mindset that makes anyone who isn't vegan a murdering rapist with no empathy. Some vegans stay this angry and ignorant forever.
Fuck human rights!
But I would be really surprised if many do, if the majority do. Partly because it's just really mentally and physically draining to be so hateful and dogmatic all the time. Instead, I think many people move on. I think they realize that their previous mindset was very simplistic. They realize that veganism is not the moral baseline. It's not an end in itself. They realize that human psychology is very complicated, that there are so many social cultural norms that exist that make it really difficult for many to go vegan and to stay vegan. And they realize that no, most meat eaters are not psychotic. Most importantly, they realize that if they really care about animal suffering and reducing animal suffering, that it's consequences that matter, not personal purity or even being right. You may be right that a legitimate comparison can be made between factory farming and the Holocaust, or dairy production and rape. But by making that comparison, you're likely putting the majority of people on the defensive and making it very hard for them to actually hear what you're trying to say, your core message, so to speak. Once emotional maturity and reason have set in like this, at least in my experience, backsliding, going back to that kind of extremist mentality, it's just very unlikely. All of the evidence, it's just so in favor of a reasoned and empathetic approach, and the only things I think that really prevent that in this sort of pink cloud extremism are ignorance and just inexperience. So to wrap things up, seeing this change in vegan gains is someone I basically wrote off as bad for veganism is really cool, and it's really inspiring. And you know, I'm rather infamous, I guess, in the vegan community for being rather empathetic and understanding towards meat eaters, the videos I do towards them. But then when it comes to my fellow vegans, maybe not so much. I guess just completely writing off some vegans just for little things, you know, little pseudoscience-y things that they believe that I disagree with. You know, like, you're vegan but you're anti-GMO, you're an idiot and a lost cause. That's how I feel sometimes, and that's not really fair. Maybe that's not very fair. Maybe I'm just overcorrecting, and maybe I would do better to be as empathetic towards fellow vegans as I am towards meat eaters. You know, be a little bit more understanding when it comes to misconceptions and ignorance that they have, just like I am towards meat eaters. I did not write this part, by the way. My partner wrote that part. I didn't want to say it, but I think he's right, so whatever. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, obviously you can leave them down below. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. And I will have a new video probably very soon. Shit. I just jinxed it.